Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our AEW series in TEW2020. I, of course, am CR Daredevil, and we are continuing on the road to to Double or Nothing, not Revolution. We are on the road to Double or Nothing in 2020, and yeah, we've got an interesting show. We've got another qualifier for the AEW International Ladder matchup at Double or Nothing. We also have two matches happening tonight that we know at least the one half of the matches in. As of course, Jericho announced last week that the Les Sex Gods have a tag team matchup here tonight, a big time tag team matchup as he put it, and that Jake Hager has a big time matchup as well tonight. On top of that, as announced on social media by Tony Khan, because that's how we do our things. We did find out as well that there is a bit of a proving or a not proving a AEW World Tag Team Title match tonight, as the Dark Order will defend against Matt and Mike Seidel. So that should be a pretty good matchup as well. We up in front of 3,668 people with our unofficial Dark. And we get a 45 rated tag team matchup that sees the Jurassic Express defeat two members of SCU. In 636, when Jungle Boy gets Daniels to submit to a snare trap. 45 rated for the match. 40 from Scorpio, 35 from Daniels, 44 from Luchasaurus, and 56 from Jungle Boy. Unfortunately, Luchasaurus sustained an undisclosed shoulder injury, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. It's not red, so that's a good thing. That means he's probably not like out. He's probably just, working through it kind of thing. But yeah, he's going to be, he's going to be kind of hurt a little bit. So there's that. But there you go. Jungle Boy with a 56, which is pretty good. Might need to get his popularity up a little bit so I can use him in some more single stuff. I know he's still kind of attached to the feud with the Dynasty, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. Thank you, Regal. Then we just get a quick interview backstage with Mia Yim, just kind of bragging about the fact that Martina's out on the shelf and that she's gonna take it to her when Martina is done being a coward and comes back to the wrestling ring and all that. 34 here because Ocampo was rated, so it's fine. But there you go. So Mia Yim is kind of helping continue keeping the storyline going with Martina being out for another few weeks with an injury. Then we see Kip Sabian defeat Darby Allin in 727 by pinfall to Deathly Hallows. 44 rating for the match. 45 from Darby Allin, 35 from Kip Sabian. So there is that. Sabian gets a victory here on Dark over Darby Allin. Then we get a 30 rated promo where the Spoiled Brats are being interviewed by Andre Ocampo, who asked them why they're targeting Tenille Dashwood. Aria Blake just says, ugh, while Selena says that they're not going to answer to someone as ugh as Ocampo. They push her out of the way, and Selena says that Tenille needs to realize that the Spoiled Brats will get what they want no matter what. So 30 rating here, just a quick little thing just to advance that storyline. Dashwood's probably going to have to find a friend to help her take these two on. Or, she could just take them on by herself, who knows, but 30 rating here. Speaking of Dashwood, she is in action in our main event of Dark. It's a 46 rating as Tenille Dashwood defeats Alice Crawley in 726 by pinfall to Michinoku Driver. 54 from Dashwood, 24 from Crawley, who was really off her game. But they have pretty good chemistry with each other, so that's good to see. But yeah, Dashwood getting a victory here, 46 rating, as we'll have to see what happens in the Dashwood Spoiled Brats feud heading forward. We open up Dynamite tonight with our AEW International Qualifier matchup. It gets a 58 rating that sees Shane Strickland defeat Frankie Kazarian, Weston Blake, and Andrew Everett in 11-11. When Strickland pinned Blake with a swerve stomp, Orange Cassidy distracted Blake during the matchup. Weston Blake was the weak link. He had a 44, 61 from Kazarian, 60 from Shane Strickland, and 54 from Andrew Everett. gained heat for the storyline with the Prisoners of War and the Best Friends. But yeah, 58 rating. Really good way to start off the show here. As Strickland has qualified, so now, remember we said that if Strickland wanted to get his hands on MJF at Double or Nothing, he'd have to qualify for the ladder match, and now he has. So we'll see those two going at it in that ladder matchup at Double or Nothing. Speaking of that, by the way, the first four to qualify for that matchup. For some reason I was basing on the word qualify. The first four to qualify for that matchup, the Blade, MJF, Angelico, and Johnny Gargano will actually be in tag team action later tonight. As it will be the Blade and MJF taking on Angelico and Johnny Gargano. Kind of a little bit of a preview for that match. Obviously, it's not a ladder match, but kind of a little bit of a preview for that upcoming match in a few weeks' time. But there you go. So Shane Strickland is the fifth member of that matchup, and now we will have one more person yet to qualify, and then we will have our six. We'll have our six people for that ladder matchup at Double or Nothing. Then after this, we got a 67 rating. Steven Regal struggled when going off script. That's kind of weird, but all right. As we get a video shown of Cody Rhodes going up to people backstage and demanding to know if they know where Brandy or Jonathan Fatu are. No one seems to know anything after he's talked to a few people, which just continues to frustrate Cody even more. After like the third or fourth person he talks to, he ends up grabbing them and throwing them into a wall backstage. But before he can do any more damage, Steven Regal just kind of randomly shows up out of nowhere. Regal tells Cody to calm down and says that violence is not the answer because that's exactly what Jonathan Fatu wants Cody to be doing. Cody yells about Brandy being taken. Regal says that he and a lot of others here can help Cody out, but Cody needs to do this the right way. He needs to do this without violence. He needs to do this without letting Fatu get into his head, all that. Cody just gets right in Regal's face and says he's going to do this his way before walking past Regal. So Cody's not happy about the fact that his wife has apparently been kidnapped. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But 67 rating is pretty good there, as we gained heat for the storyline and everything. So I will take that for sure. Then we go back to the ring, and we get a 42 rating because they don't seem to click. As Hikaru Shida defeats Penelope Ford 9:32 by submission with a Sheet Axe Queen. 45 from Shida, 25 from Ford. Again, they don't click, so that kind of hurt their ratings a little bit. But this is basically just, giving Shida a victory. She doesn't really have a lot going on storyline-wise right now heading into Double or Nothing. So this was more just a way of getting her a victory on Dynamite to keep her looking strong and going from there. And now I know that those two don't click, so I'll have to remember that for the future. Then we get a 46 rated promo here where the Best Friends are backstage and they say that enough is enough. They've been having this battle with the Prisoners of War for months now, including that traitor Wheeler Yuta being associated with them. So they want to put an end to this whole thing once and for all. They're looking for a final battle between both sides. 3 versus 3 street fight. They'll be waiting for their answer. So 46 here, as the Best Friends are wanting to put things to an end with the Prisoners of War and Wheeler Yuta. And they want, just this one final matchup to happen. And we'll have to see if it ends up happening. Lost some heat for the storyline, but that's fine. Then after that, this tag match gets a 64 rating. Hell yeah. As the Blade and MJF defeat Angelico and Johnny Gargano in 10:01 when MJF got Angelico to submit to the salt of the earth after interference from Wardlow. So tainted victory. Is there any others for MJF there? 64 for the match, 56 from MJF, 57 from Blade, 60 from Gargano, and 58 from Angelico. So, yeah, good to see a strong victory here. Well, not a strong victory, but good to see a strong tag match here from 4 of the 6 participants in the ladder match at Double or Nothing. Adding Shane Strickland to that, I mean, there's a chance that ladder match is going to be pretty good, for sure. Blade continuing to have a winning record here in AEW. I think he's only lost like maybe once or twice ever. MJF, continuing to gain momentum, even if he has to do so by cheating here and all that stuff. So 64 rating. I will take that for this tag match here, as it got the crowd hotter as well. Then a 44 for this segment, as Britt Baker standing by with Tony Schiavone backstage and Karen Q. Britt's not happy about last week where Kaylee Ray cost her an opportunity to prove that she is the true face of the company, of course referring to that 6-woman tag team match that saw 3 Elite defeat Mercedes and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Karen Q, thanks to Kaylee Ray coming out and causing an issue there. She yells at Tony for allowing this to happen, to which he responds that he's not in charge of anything here, so I don't know what, she doesn't know why, or he doesn't know why she's yelling at him. And she just gets frustrated and says that there will be revenge for what happened, marked her words. From that, we then go to a separate segment backstage that sees Kaylee Ray and Xia Brookside talking to each other. Of course, a couple weeks ago on, I think it was Dark, we had Xia Brookside come out and help Kaylee Ray fight off Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Karen Q. So Kaylee Ray thanks Xia for the save a couple weeks ago, but says she can handle those two on her own. Xia, she wants to help Kaylee Ray out, though. She's kind of, even though there's not too much difference in age, she's kind of looked up to her as, of course, both of them are kind of from Europe over, and she's, Xia kind of watched Kaylee Ray, become a star in the European wrestling scene over and all that kind of stuff. And so she's already talked to Regal about having a tag team match next week on Dynamite. Kaylee Ray kind of sighs before saying that if it allows her to get her hands on Britt and Karen, then so be it. So there you go. Next week on Dynamite, it's going to be Kaylee Ray and Xia Brookside versus Karen Q and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. We'll have to see how that match plays out. But let's get to 44 rating here. Then, Les Sex Gods are in tag team action, but they're in the ring against the Young Bucks. In an 11:05, Matt Jackson pins Sammy Guevara with a Meltzer driver to win the match for the Bucks. Guevara was a weak link. He had a 49-60 from Jericho, 63 from Nick Jackson, and 65 from Matt Jackson. So the Bucks pick up a victory. Les Sex Gods tried to, Jericho tried to get them a big-time matchup, and they were unable to get the job done against the Young Bucks here. 64 rating. As the Bucks continue to gain some momentum ahead of wanting another shot at the tag team titles. We'll have to see if they end up getting that at all. But 64 here for this matchup. Then we get a 41. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured this would end up doing. But it's fine because it wasn't advancing any storyline anyway. As El Generico standing by backstage with Andy Ocampo. Of course, we've seen Generico recently trying to talk to people backstage in Spanish, however, and a lot of people haven't been understanding him. But thankfully, Andy Ocampo happens to be someone who's actually fluent in Spanish. So she responds in Spanish and is able to translate for Generico. He says, apparently, based off of her translation, that he's in search for another battle. He says he lost to Jonathan Fatu last time he was in that ring, but he knows that next time he will get the victory. So he wants to fight someone on Dynamite next week, and he's issuing an open challenge for the show. So there you go. Open challenge for Dynamite next week from El Generico. We'll have to see who ends up answering that challenge. 41 here, not terrible. But it's, kind of Andrea being rated on stuff that's kind of bringing things down a little bit. 54 here for this matchup, which isn't too bad, as Alexis Kaufman defeats Thea Trinidad in 11-11 when Trinidad was disqualified when the Bunny ran in and attacked Alexis Kaufman. She sprayed mist in her face, caused the DQ, and then Thea and the Bunny kind of, stomping away a little bit. Kind of made it seem like it was a setup all along that Thea was perfectly fine with taking the loss here because it meant that, the Bunny was able to get some, to send a message to Alexis Kaufman because she wants her title back, she keeps saying. But 54 here for the match, which is pretty good, and a gain T for the storyline, which is also good. Thea with a 45, so, maybe not somebody I'll be pushing big time in the ring, but she'll be somebody who we can use occasionally. But like she's gonna be kind of like that split person, she'd be like, because she's managing Tommy End, she's part of the Dark Order, so she'll be kind of mostly doing that, but at the same time she'll be also wrestling occasionally. So Alex Kaufman with a 52, which I feel is a little low for her, but maybe I'm just mistaken there. But nevertheless, 54 rating here for this, as Kaufman does get the victory, but it's because of the fact that the Bunny ran out and laid her out, misting her in the face and then stood tall over her. We then have Moxley backstage. He's wondering why Cage hasn't answered his challenge for a match yet. Questions whether Cage really has what it takes to be in the ring with Moxley. Only for Cage to then blindside Moxley. Mox tries to fight back, but the surprise attack allows Cage to be in control as he smashes Mox into some equipment cases backstage before security and officials come in to separate the two of them. Cage then says, "Consider the challenge accepted." So at some point in the near future, spoilers, it's Double or Nothing, we will see Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage one-on-one. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. But 65 rating for this, which is really good. Then we have our tag team matchup. I forgot this was not for the titles. I forgot this was a proving ground match, not for the titles. As the Dark Order defeats Matt Sydal and Mike Sydal in 10:52 when Stu Grayson pinned Matt Sydal with a fatality. Thanks to CJ Perry's distraction. I thought I put Mike to take the loss, but whatever. 70 rating for the match, though, which is really good. Matt, head and shoulders above everyone. He had a 79. Mike was weak link. He had a 33. Evil Uno with a 51, and Grayson with a 64. So the tag team champions get a victory here, thanks to the distraction by CJ Perry. And kind of, proven that the Sydals should not get a shot at the tag team titles, essentially, with this matchup. But yeah, really good matchup here on the show. Afterwards, the Sydal brothers are disappointed by the loss as Perry stands there on the ramp with a microphone. She says that the Redeemer is out to make Matt Sydal a victim, and he will continue to ruin Matt's life until Miro's God allows him to move on. While the Sydals are watching Perry speak, they are blindsided by Miro from behind. Miro tosses Matt to the outside and goes out there before whipping him into the steel steps, sending him crashing into him. He then goes back in the ring and locks the game over on Mike Sydal as officials come running out to try to break things up. After a few moments, Perry gets on the microphone again and says that's enough for now. And Miro lets go of the hold before leaving the ring with a smile on his face. So there you go. Miro sending a message. Taking it to Mike Sydal and Matt Sydal. Sending Matt crashing into steel steps. Pretty much kind of just about breaking Mike again in the ring with a game over. So at this point, Matt Sydal is definitely backed up against the wall. Like, he's constantly getting attacked by Miro. He's watching his brother constantly being hurt badly by Miro. Gotta imagine something's gonna happen. 61 rating here. I will take that for this segment. Then we have a promo before the main event, which of course will be Jake Hager's matchup. Jay Lethal has an in-ring promo talking about being the next AEW World Champion. Says that he already has Pac's number and that it's time for the House of Truth to take over as the top group here in AEW. Pac comes out to respond, but he gets jumped by a private party. Isaiah, Cassidy, and Mark Quinn beat down Pac as Lethal just kind of laughs about it before heading up the ramp to join in. The cameras then go backstage and show Penta and Fenix trying to break down a door, but the door is jammed, trapping them in a room. So it looks like the House of Truth kind of set this up on purpose, kind of set a trap for Pac. As we go back to the ramp, or to the stage area where Lethal and Private Party are finished beating up on Pac before Lethal grabs the AEW World Championship and raises it in the air to a chorus of boos. 61 rating, low C for the storyline, but that's not a big deal. Cassidy underperformed a little bit, so I rated him on charisma, which is kind of weird because his charisma's okay, but all right. Nevertheless, Lethal standing tall, looking strong over Pac, just kind of showing his dominance and all that showing that that he has Pac's number ahead of their world title matchup at Double or Nothing. And then the main event gets a 72 rating, as it turns out that Jake Hager's opponent is none other than Kenny Omega. Of course, we've seen this darker side of Kenny Omega recently, who's, he's after getting misted and constantly being attacked by Tommy End. So he is coming out. He's very, he's kind of a little bit of a darker tone to him. And he just kind of takes it to Hager right away. Hager's trying to fight back, but it's not necessarily like one-sided, but it is kind of a lot of Omega's kind of really in control of the matchup for most of it. And he does defeat Hager in 12:20 by pinfall the V-Trigger. 72 rated for the match. 67 from Omega, 60 from Hager. As it looks like the decision of Jericho putting, Latex Gods and Hager in matches against what turned out to be the Elite was not a smart decision, because both matches were lost by the Inner Circle. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But 72 rating here for the match. Really good main event here. Show itself gets a 69 rating. Nice. Nice rating. Increased their popularity in 46 regions. So good to see there. So yeah, very nice nice rating for Dynamite. As we had a lot of strong matches on the show. There are a few angles that kind of brought the show down a little bit, but we had a lot of strong matches on the show. Other than Sheeta and Forward, which, was mostly because they didn't click, I think a lot of the other matches were at least 60 or higher. So I will take that for sure. Well, I guess the Kaufman and Trinidad match was only like a 50 something as well, but it's the women's division. They're kind of, set up to not be quite as good as the men at this point, but we're getting them there. We are getting them there. But yeah, there you go. We got so much storylines going on here in AEW that we didn't get updates on some of the other stuff going on, like I completely just based on like Cole and Adam Cole and Hangman Page. We didn't get any update on that one. We didn't really see Tommy End at all, so we don't really get an update on the whole Elite versus Dark Order thing. So yeah, we'll have to kind of see what continues to happen with stuff here in AEW. Do that. Okay. So, switch back over here. Marty's Janae's leaving the business. Oh no, very sad days. Feedback's been great for Dynamite. 457,000 people watching the show. Still about 300 plus thousand behind NXT, but that's all right because we're getting better. We're getting there. We're growing. We're popular. We saw the better rated show, so I'll take that. NXT had a 54. That saw Candice LeRae defeat Dakota Kai in a cage match in the main event, which got a 55. Yeah, their show was just kind of average, really. Like, there's not really that match, and then the Heavy Machinery defeating Fabian Eichner and Matt Riddle by DQ match was their best segments on the show, and those were both 55s. Whereas, ours, we had a 72, we had a 70. I mean, we had a lot of really great stuff on the show, so I will take that for sure. I think there was something I wanted to show you all, and I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. It was something that was really funny. See if I can figure it out. Oops. Oh yeah, Minoru Suzuki retired in my save, by the way, which was weird. Let's see here. It might not. I should have saved it. It might not have shown me, or it might not have saved on there. Somebody weird was working for somewhere, and I can't remember what it was. Like, I found out that like someone was working for a company, and I was very surprised by it. I'll have to find it next time and show you all, but someone weird was working for a company in this that I thought was kind of funny to see. Luchasaurus, by the way, only hurt for, I can't show you the screen because it has a spoiler on it, but Luchasaurus was only hurt for 19 days, and he's working through it, so not a serious injury. We do get Delmi Exo, one half of Team C Stars, back in 2 days, so she'll be back for the next show. Martina is still out for 21 days, so she's going to be out for a few weeks. That would put her back in time for Double or Nothing, but I don't know for sure if I'm planning on doing Medium and Martina at Double or Nothing or not. If I do, it'd probably be on the pre-show, like the buy-in or whatever. But yeah, we'll kind of see how that plays out. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it. On this series, we will see you next week for another edition of Dynamite. And on the channel, we will see you tomorrow for yet another video.